What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. If you enjoy the Scale News Update regularly, hit the like button. Let's jump into this week's topics. First, for this week, RC4WD Drive released two new versions of the Trailfinder 2 in builder's kit form. Now, one of these options comes with the Yoda 2 axles and the R3 single speed transmission, transfer case. And I'm not really sure what's different or new with this version compared to previous versions. The TF2 has been out for so long that some of this stuff just kind of seems, I feel like we've had this kit before, but not sure what exact changes have been made. The second new builder's kit is, again, Trailfinder 2, R3 single speed transmission, but with the K44 axles underneath of it. So that's, more like what you've seen underneath of the Chevy bodies and things like that, as opposed to the Toyota bodies, which were using the Yoda stuff. Again, not really sure exactly what the differences are between this release and previous kit versions of the truck releases. RC4WD Drive doesn't really give a good comparison with that stuff, and nonetheless, if you've been looking for one of these builder's kits or thinking about building a leaf-sprung truck in general, then there's two new options available to you. RC4WD Drive also dropped another version of their clipless body mounting system. We saw that on one of the most recent RTR releases. They had a new clipless body mounting system, which is generally aluminum and kind of like a spring-loaded type thing to help with all of the, getting rid of like the screw mounts that they used to use on the side of the body, things like that. This is just a little bit simpler as far as that goes. And they released a few different versions to work with the different body options that will work on that platform. So you can kind of piecemeal that together, build exactly the version that you want, or retrofit one of your previous builds with that. So check that out. Also in the list was a hydro-dipped sticker bombed hood that you can use on the Blazer and K10 bodies. So it's just the hood. I don't know how many other individual body panels they sell like this, but you can buy it, and it's a hydro dip. So it's not actual stickers or anything like that. It's just a dipped version of this hood with, it looks like, tons of RC4WD Drive stickers plastered on it. The hydro dipping looks pretty good. I mean, it looks like consistent, or it doesn't look warped, as is pretty common with hydro dipping just because of the process itself. This one looks consistent. So I think that they did a pretty good job on that side of things. If you're looking for a replacement hood for one of your Chevy bodies, check that out. Also, over on the RC4WD Drive site, they have a belt drive conversion for the Vanquish VFD transmission. This is specific to the VFD, not the VFD twin, at least as far as they're saying there. Now, this gets rid of a pinion and spur setup and goes to it's still kind of pinion and spur, but it has a belt drive rather than actual gear mesh. The one major thing about this, though, that I would say, or maybe a couple of things to note, is that it greatly reduces the gear ratio, as this goes from either a 52 tooth spur or a 56 tooth spur down to a 43 tooth spur with only a 13 tooth pinion, which isn't going to be much smaller than what was previously used on any of those VFD transmissions. So you're going to end up speeding up the truck considerably by going to this type of setup, which is definitely worth mentioning. And they don't really talk about the gear ratio in the product spec at all. So if you put that on there, you're going to notice a significant, like a 20% probably jump, which could cause heat issues depending on what kind of motor you're running, or just in general make your truck perform very differently than you may be expecting when doing this swap. The other thing with belt drives that has been talked about, things depending on the type of motor that you run. When you add a belt, you have to have some tension between the belt and the pulleys to try and keep things running and in line without just skipping. So you do have to put some tension there, and that adds a side load to motors, which can cause bearings in motors to fail. It's not going to happen instantly or anything like that, but it's been something that's been noted on belt drive setups like this for a lot of years. This isn't a new thing. People have been doing this for a really long time. So something, again, to consider if you're thinking about going to a belt drive. The benefit to the belt drives is that they're generally very, very quiet. So if you just like a really quiet truck in general, Going to a belt drive is one way that you can achieve that. You just have to understand the side effects of installing something like that in place of a standard spur and pinion. New this week over at JConcepts, they've got a new set of wheels and tires. These are the Renegade BX tires as well as the Tribute BX wheels. And these are specifically aimed towards the Tamiya, like the Midnight Pumpkin, I believe the Midnight Pumpkin Evo, or the Lunchbox, and the Lunchbox Evo, and then the Midnight Pumpkin. So just a little bit more aggressive than the stock version of the Tamiya wheels and tires. We don't often talk about just regular Tamiya hop-ups like this, but the look of it with the body that they chose and painted for this thing, overall I just thought looked pretty good. And there's obviously a lot of people into some of the old Tamiya stuff. So for that reason, felt like a fitting one. And overall, I thought this one looked really good. And speaking of things we don't talk about all that often, ProBoat released the U34 34-inch Miss Illinois RTR brushless hydroplane boat. I'm going to talk about a ton of boats in general, but this one, when I saw all of the social media posts and the video releases about it last week, I was like, God, the thing looks so cool. It's wild powerful, super fast. I really don't have any business being around boats, especially ones that don't just flip themselves back over. But this thing looks so cool. Chief approves. I don't need it. I want it. This style of boat in general is just the coolest to watch. The Venn diagram of things that I want and things that I need usually do not seem to actually overlap at all. This one's no exception, but I'll keep it in my Christmas list for future reference. I'll put a link to that boat down in the description below, as well as links to the rest of this week's stories, including the next story, which is about channel membership, which helps support this channel a little bit extra. If you're interested in that, you get to see videos like this one early. You get dedicated member videos. You get member only live streams as well. And again, it just helps support the channel a little bit extra. If you're interested in that, the link down in the description below will give you all of the information on that. Appreciate everybody who helps support the channel. Appreciate everybody who watches any of the videos regardless. This Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, Matt and I the live stream takeover. It's the other show that happens every single week. Come join us. We talk about sometimes RC, most of the time not, but always have a lot of fun. Come join us live or watch the replay. Either way, join in. It's a lot of fun. And if you work for an RC company and like to see any of your products on the Scale News Update, send me an email to news@harleydesigns.com. Include a photo, a description, a link to where it can be found on your website. Love to take a look at that, see if we can get it included here on the Scale News. Back in February, we talked about an upcoming Tamiya release of the TT02 BMW M4 GT3 car, and it's finally about to ship. Dealers and distributors have these available now for pre-order. I thought that the body just looked so good on this one, and being that we talked about it in February, but I'm just now seeing that they're available to order, figured it would be worth mentioning again in case you just needed a new TT02. New this week from Robskii Fab, he's got one of his new Gravity Hybrid Link kits for the SCX24. We previously covered his SCX30 version of this kit, but this has got a double bent lower link design, and it's got this like nickel plating on some actual brass lower links. So it adds that weight down low with the lower links, but the upper links are aluminum. So you don't add the weight where you don't want it, just where you do want that. And again, the look is very nice with the coating and the laser etching on there. You don't have to see the actual brass color in case that's not something you love, especially over time as it kind of gets, a little dingy or tarnished. This is probably have a little bit better lifespan for that styling. Robskii Fab, we've covered a number of things from him as of late. Cool to see some new options coming out. And speaking of small scale, Furitek is releasing this Rogue 30th scale 6x6. It's ARTR on this one. It's not cheap because it's all machined, everything. It's got a body on it. It's a 6x6, so there's 50% more parts to it for the most part. And it's got Furitek all underneath of this. It's just a wild looking little thing. Now, the photo that's shown there, it also has some tube work specifically on the back, but it also carries all the way up to the front. Now, when you buy this normally, that tube work is not included, but they are selling the tube work separately, and there's actually 2 different versions of it. In the photo that I'm using here, there's some extra tubing on there, like kind of up higher on the bed area for just added style. But you can get this version with that extra tubing, or you can get a comp version, which has tubing, but it's less. So not a lot of 6x6 comps in general happening, but comp, they're just kind of saying, it's more performance oriented at that. It is made from titanium. So solid rod, titanium welded together. The ARTR truck on its own is $500. Again, not cheap, but all machined to everything, wheels, axles, chassis, the whole deal. $500 for that. If you want the cage, the full version is $89 for the titanium cage, and the comp version is $69. So save $20 by getting a little bit less tubing. It's definitely something different, kind of cool at that. Bittydesign just dropped 2 new body options for crawlers. Generally, their bodies are on-road and speed, that type of thing, but they do have a couple of crawler bodies. The new ones that they released are the T400, which is like a Toyota Tacoma-esque body, I would say. It looks pretty good. The top section of the windows seems a little bit small for how the bottom section of the body looks, maybe, in my opinion only, but overall the lines are super clean. That's, I would say, what Bitty does better than most. It's just how clean the molding is on their bodies in general. Toyota Tacoma body, probably something that people like. It's a standard 313 millimeter wheelbase. So any scale truck, 12.3 wheelbase, this is going to be a good candidate for. The other one that they released is the W464, which to me, it kind of looks like a Brabus version of the G-Wagon, but it's the truck version of it at that, which has a little bit of like odd painting, specifically of the back part of this in their product photos. But again, overall, it's just something a little bit different. Maybe crawler bodies aren't Bittydesign's strongest area, but more options, definitely going to be somebody that likes these specifically. You can find these from Bittydesigns direct. They are from Europe, so getting them into the US, a little bit more expensive. However, you can always wait, and then usually they're available through AMain in like a month or so normally. Next, a couple of stories about the use of AI in the hobby. We've talked about LX Shocks in the past doing just like AI slop videos of maybe products that they're making, or maybe, I don't know what their intention is. It is an overseas company, which in general usually has pretty lackluster like support or probably understanding of what they're communicating to us. I'm gonna play the videos in their entirety because the audio is also important. So listen to both videos first.
Full metal skeleton. Full brush stainless steel frame, exposed rivet structure, hardcore to the core. Oversized off-road tires, conquering gravel like flat ground. Full metal crawler RC, conquer any terrain. The choice for hardcore players.
Now, the video with the welding screwdriver is trying to advertise a chassis that you can buy from them. But like videos like this, which I think that these are so bad that it does seem obvious that they're fake or AI, but not everybody will know that, which with how bad these are, you would expect it, but like some people are not going to. It's like the amount of trust that it has to just bring down from a company as a whole when they continue to post this type of stuff. I guess it's one of those things that you hope that it does, like people realize and then remember or form some of an opinion against. But at the same time, we see so much on a daily basis. Like so much of this stuff just comes through our feed. We see it, we go through it, and you forget about it. You just keep going. That you don't, maybe it doesn't. Maybe in the end, it's a net positive for them. It got eyes, it gets comments because of how bad it is, and then it pushes other content instead. So it's wild to see, and you know, the use of AI, the bad use of AI, with companies that you would hope would not be using it in the way that they are. You know, that you see it from small companies all the time. They're, you know, the AI flyers for events or this or that. You know, I made a t-shirt design. Now YouTubers use it all the time. You know, use it to make thumbnails, because as much as you want it to not be the way, it's the ones that get the highest click-through percentage, which is in the end the goal. And they just have figured it out that this is what people click on the most. Such egregious examples of it like this just seem surprising. And on that same note, this week, while looking for news stories, Team Associated has got just this, you know, again, it's just like an AI flyer for a BOGO sale that they have going on. Now, the BOGO is one thing, the bad flyer is another. You would hope that Team Associated would create their own flyer of some sort, but you know, it seems like it's maybe running on a pretty slim crew over there these days. People running social media don't seem to necessarily have a great grasp on a lot of it. Maybe they're the same people doing this. So it's hard to say. The AI slop photo is one thing. The BOGO that they have going is another, though. If you buy a Sendero Black version, you can get the 12 scale Enduro for free. They also have, if you buy an Element Enduro Night Runner, you can get one of the Huna Truck RTRs for free, the smaller ones. And then if you buy the Enduro 12 scale, then you can get an Enduro 24 for free. So we haven't seen any changes or updates or progress. You know, even a lot of stock on the Element side of things has been very light for quite some time. So we haven't seen any updates or any movement, anything like that there. We've seen some posts saying that they are going to do things. And I think that was earlier in the year, saying that we would see something new this year. But, you know, we're going into our 8th month now. We haven't seen anything from them yet since. But I will put a link to those BOGO deals down in the description. But that's going to do it for this week's news topics. For this week's question, I want to actually go back to that boat. Not about the boat specifically, but about things that you know you want, but you also know that you just shouldn't buy because you know what your expectations are, but then you also know what your actual experience may be. Not saying that that boat is bad at all. I think it looks like a blast, but I also know that me with boats, things happen and then they end up stranded out somewhere and I have to figure out how to get them, and just it turns into a big fiasco every time. So what I want to know is there an area of the hobby that you just avoid because you know that it's just going to be trouble for you, or even outside of the hobby, a completely different hobby in general that you'd love to get into, but you're like, you know what? It's a bad idea. And there's good bad ideas and there's bad ideas. And you know the ones that I'm talking about. So drop yours down in the comments below. And if you don't have anything for that, tell me how many photos are saved on your phone. I'm currently at 26,609. But that's going to do it for this week's Scale News Update. As always, appreciate you guys for watching every single week. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already. Channel memberships available if you're interested. But thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one. Good boy. Good boy. Be a gentleman.